The presidential race has kind of taken a backseat to the pandemic, but Election Day is just a few months away. For more on how the crisis is affecting the race, we're joined now by St. John's University political analyst Brian Browne. And Brian, normally we'd be covering Joe Biden's campaign stops and President Trump's rallies, but social distancing is preventing all of that. So what does the future of this race look like?
It's really unknown, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the campaign plays out and how retail politics is going to change in this new era of the coronavirus. You're not going to be seeing handshakes. You're not going to be seeing big crowds. You're not going to be seeing anyone kissing babies. So this is going to be a new thing for politicians and how they adjust, and more importantly, how they get their message out.
Right, and the president has a press conference every day to update us with the coronavirus task force. Could he have an advantage come November because of the crisis, or will it have the opposite effect?
Well, he certainly has more visibility on the daily basis, but it's really how he's spending this time. And yesterday in particular, his conference got very combative. And the press corps, he seems to be going to war with them. But he should really be concerned about numbers. You know, campaigns and elections are all about numbers. And right now, the number of deaths, the number of unemployment claims, his own standing in the polls, those are numbers that he should be concerned about because they're not looking good.
What about a decision about opening up the economy? Trump really wants to do that sooner rather than later. Could that affect the vote?
Absolutely, and it's probably the most important decision he will make in his presidency. Right now, I think he would be best served to listen to the experts, to the doctors and the scientists. But clearly, his campaign up until a month ago was all about the economy, and it was in his favor. Right now, that is not the case. So you can see where he's motivated to get the economy back up and running, but it really has to be what is in the best interest of all of the American people.
All right, what if there's a resurgence of the virus in the fall? Is there any way the elections could be postponed? And what happens then? Does the president stay in office until there is an election? Like, how does that work?
You know, it's a lot of unknowns that we're heading into. You know, only Congress can really address that matter when it comes to holding a presidential election. God willing, we'll all be in a better place at that point in time. But certainly, if there is a resurgence in the fall, in particular, right before the November election, that could be do or die when it comes to the outcome of the election.
Yeah, do you think there's been a lot of talk about voting by mail? Do you think that's what we could all be doing in November?
It completely makes sense. Many states are already doing it. Some states, that's all they do. It's absolutely, at this point in time, the safest, healthiest, and probably most efficient way to hold the national election. It's something that should be explored, and it should be explored quickly.
All right, and while we see President Trump on TV every day, we're not seeing much of Joe Biden, and now we're hearing about these endorsements. Well, what's next? How does he keep his campaign and his ideas alive?
He really has to maintain visibility. I know he set up this home studio in his basement, and he is doing these daily events from there, but he really has to get out and, you know, do that retail politicking. He has to continue to, you know, to regain the spotlight. The primary is over. He got the Bernie Sanders endorsement. He should be working on winning over those Sanders supporters and getting his message out. He has to draw a contrast between himself and President Trump.
What do you think about President Obama just giving the endorsement now?
Well, it makes sense. I mean, normally, you know, these elected officials like President Obama like to stay out of these messy primaries. So the timing, it's not unusual. I think it is a nice boost for the vice president's campaign, but we'll see. It's a long time between now and November.
All right, and really quickly, there's been a lot of talk, mostly on social media, of Governor Andrew Cuomo becoming the Democratic candidate. Is that possible?
It would be a real stretch. Right now, he has no delegates. You know, unless we go to the floor of the convention, which may not be the normal convention we're used to, it's very unlikely. He's been very adamant that this is not what he wants to pursue. But there certainly is that chatter, and it's not going to go away.
All right, Brian Browne, St. John's University political analyst. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and then click on the bell to get instant updates about all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.